Hello, my name is Kim Klinko, and I am an OpenSciEd teacher as well as facilitator. Welcome to Lesson 12. I really like this lesson because it feels like we finally get all of the answers to what makes the gas bubbles in a bath bomb. It's a great time to celebrate students' hard work. Let me show you some more. In Lesson 11, we spent some time looking at Dalton's images of an atom, and we learned that a substance is made of the same type of molecules or atoms throughout, and that in a chemical reaction, the particles that make up old substances can be broken apart, and the atoms that make them up can be rearranged to make new substances, which got us to wondering, how can a new substance be made, especially when we're talking about the bath bomb? Here you can see the lesson at a glance. It is a 2-day lesson, and there is a 20-minute prep time to get the materials ready for the hands-on investigation. On day 1, you'll be comparing models and explanations in a scientist circle. Then you will revisit your science consensus model that you created way back in lesson 7. There's an individual assessment at the end of day 1. And here in day 2, students will be comparing and developing models using one of the questions from the assessment in day 1. We'll come back and update our class consensus model again, and then think about chemical processes. Kind of summarize what we've learned so far about those, and then finally take another look at the driving question board and figure out next steps and what questions we haven't answered yet. So as you can see, on day 1, students explain how a chemical reaction between molecules of baking soda and citric acid could have produced some new water molecules. Then on day 2, they'll figure out that in a chemical reaction, the amount of matter at the beginning is the same amount of matter at the end of a chemical reaction. No new atoms can appear that weren't there to start with, and chemical reactions, phase changes, and dissolving are all chemical processes that involve rearranging particles. This lesson starts off with students comparing models that they created in lesson 9. Now, here we are in part 2 of this lesson, and we're sitting in a scientist circle with those models, ready to create a class consensus model, looking at the model here that we made in lesson 7. You can see that here on the slide. We give students the words for reactants and products, and then we add the molecular representations for the reactants by taping them to the model. Later, you're going to be removing those, so make sure it's important that you actually do that here in part 2. When you get to the product side, after you add 3 molecules of carbon dioxide, you're going to talk about this water left over. That's in that bottom right-hand side there. And the class is left with more things to figure out about that liquid. In part 5, we're in day 2 of this lesson, and we're back to revisiting the consensus model that we discussed in part 2 after students have completed an assessment. You'll start by discussing some of the questions from that assessment, and students come up with the idea that we end with more water molecules than we started with. So we update the right side of the consensus model to replace what was there with 6 molecules of water. And you can see these cutouts that you'll be able to use for taping onto that model. This ends up being 3 more water molecules than you had put in the bottom left circle. And students come up with sodium citrate as another product based on information they got from that assessment they took. And so you can add sodium citrate molecules to the bottom model as well. We'll review the idea that the mass we start with is the mass we end with in a chemical reaction. Still in part 5 of the lesson here, and next we try to determine the correct ratio of citric acid to baking soda to water. When students determine that B is the correct model, We add that idea that in a chemical reaction, the total number of each type of atom does not change, it's conserved, and thus the mass does not change, to our key model ideas poster that we've been keeping up for this unit. Now is when we're going to remove two citric acid molecules from the reactants to show on the poster so that only one remains. That matches the discussion we just have about amounts and ratios. You're also going to write the bath bomb chemical equation on a poster near the molecular poster, which looks just like this. You can see on this slide that you finally have the chemical reactions to a bath bomb, which is exciting. In part 6, students get to use manipulatives to model water molecules for two phase changes. These are just paper molecules or paper circles. Then you'll be conducting a consensus building discussion to differentiate between particle level changes in chemical reactions versus phase changes versus dissolving. You're going to reveal this poster one step at a time. You can see the final poster here on this slide. And so you'll start with just the left-hand chemical reactions filled out, and then you'll go to phase changes, and then finally to dissolving. The big takeaway here is that in all of these cases, the particles rearrange in some way. Chemical reactions create a new substance, but phase changes do not. And then there are some lingering questions about dissolving at the particle level because it's actually above grade level here. So it's okay to leave them hanging. Some tips and tricks for this lesson are: first, there is an assessment in this lesson. It's called Explaining New Aspects of the Anchoring Phenomena. Students answer 3 questions as they relate to another class's investigation to determine if, when mixing baking soda, citric acid, and water, what, if any, other substances are created. They use molecular models like the one you see on the screen and data to help answer these questions. If this is not something you've spent some time looking at, it may be something to consider prior to the assessment. So take some time to prepare that for yourself and for your students. You're going to be using some of the questions from this assessment on day 1 to help push their thinking in the discussions later on in this lesson on day 2. And so grading these assessments requires a quick turnaround. Make sure that you are able to do that for yourself. As we know, time management can be tricky. So remember to prepare some of these paper molecules for the consensus model update in part 2. Part 5 requires you to update the consensus model again, and you'll be removing some of those molecules you added in part 2. So there are these paper molecules provided for the water molecule manipulative used in part 6. If you have some sort of 3D manipulatives, that can also be fun. I've also created Google Slides with atoms and molecules that can be moved around on the slide. However, this is only meant to take a few minutes, so try not to spend too much time here. And finally, don't forget to celebrate figuring out bath bombs. This is a huge accomplishment for these students. Make sure you take time to celebrate that. There are 2 new word wall words, reactant and products. And you'll create 2 posters in this lesson. The first one includes the chemical equation for bath bombs that you see in the middle, as well as the final molecular model on the left. This, again, is a huge accomplishment. Take some time to enjoy that. And finally, the chemical reactions processes poster also solidifies some of the main DCIs and CCCs for this unit. Make sure to keep the chemical processes poster for the next unit, the MRE unit 7.2, as you will be referring to it again. I hope you enjoy celebrating with your students after this lesson as much as I do every year.